What's going on, NBA fanatics? This is your friendly neighborhood Memphis Grizzlies homer, Memphis X, and I talk hoops. Today, I am talking about my 5 burning questions at the halfway point for the Memphis Grizzlies. But first, every hero needs their theme music.
KeyAno.
Grizz gang, go hard. Yeah. Baddest in the game, we be on one. I talk hoops, so secure. All up on the court, but we gon' score. Memphis bringing heat straight from Tennessee. Demo spiking, let's go, boy. He that MVP.
All right, guys, it is time for the weekend. The Grizzlies do not play again until Saturday against the Indiana Pacers without their superstar, Tyrese Halliburton. So the Grizzlies are catching another schedule break as far as player availability with their opponent. Plus, the Indiana Pacers will be playing tonight, so they will be on the second night of a back-to-back. And the Grizzlies will be having 3 days rest. So it's a very good chance that the Grizzlies win streak extends to 9 games, and they will have a chance to approach the record they set last year of wins in a row of 11. So I am looking forward to that, like I said, but we're going to do the preview for that game tomorrow. Today, we are talking about my 5 burning questions for the second half and from the first half. Really half-point questions. And the first question for me, or the first thing is, what was your best moment from the first half? First 41 games, what was your best moment? It could be a play, it could be a game, it could be anything. It could be something that happened post-game. You know how the Grizzlies are post-game. But for me personally, the best first half moment for me was Jaren Jackson Jr.'s last-second block on Joel Embiid at the rim. It was the one play of the first half that just really stunned me. I mean, I did not think there was any way Jaren Jackson was going to get to that block. I thought Embiid was for sure going to dunk that ball. I thought it was going to merely make it a close game. But Jaren Jackson got to that block. And for me, it's probably one of the better blocks in Grizzlies history. I mean, it's not a real big moment block as far as like in the playoffs or something like that. But just the tracking, and it seemed like that is the game or the block that really set into motion Jaren's dominance as a defensive player from then on out. But yeah, to me, that was the biggest moment for me of the first half. Now, the next thing. What do I think the Grizzlies' final record will be this season? The Grizzlies are now 28-13. We're at the halfway point. What do I think the Grizzlies' records will be? If they have the same record this time, they will, in the second half as they had in the first half, they will match their record from last season. But I think they're going to be a little bit better. I am saying that the Grizzlies are going to be 60-22 at the end of the season. I think they're going to have this hot streak, and I think they're going to have another one later on in the season, post-All-Star break. That's really going to set them off, and it's really going to be these extended streaks. It's going to be like a little break where they kind of, have a little rough spot like they did at the end of December. But I think this one is going to be, they're going to have a 32-9 record to end the season. 32-9. Yeah, that's kind of insane, man. 32-9. I think this is going to be the preview to a crazy, crazy season next year. But this year, I think they're going to really start to get into a very good rhythm. as far as long as they don't have any, multiple injuries anytime during the season. I think they're going to get into a real good rhythm and start to show themselves. Like I told you guys during the preseason, when I thought Jaren was going to come back in December, I said this would be the time where the Grizzlies will have that Celtics-like run that the Celtics had last season, where they are just going to start really establishing themselves offensively and defensively. And they're really going to set the tone for how the rest of the season is going to go and the playoffs as far as pecking order goes. Next, will the Memphis Grizzlies make a trade before the trade deadline? And I am going to say yes. I think they're going to make a trade. I don't know if it's going to be a big trade or a little trade. My top three guys are probably going to be Kyle Kuzma, like I said earlier, OG Anunoby, and Miles Turner. And it depends. It's a good thing that we're playing. It's a coincidence that we're playing Indiana tomorrow. But with Halliburton out, if the Pacers start to fall off the pace of the playoffs, they might look to pivot and get rid of, some of their veterans, especially Miles Turner, if they don't want to pay him a big contract next year, since he's already turned down one of their extension offers already. So that's OG Anunoby, Kyle Kuzma, Miles Turner. Those are my top three trade targets for the Grizzlies. Number 4, will any other Grizzlies besides Ja Morant make the All-Star team? Now, when you look at the people that are having a great season in the Western Conference, you start to see that it's going to be rough for either Jaren Jackson or Desmond Bane to make the All-Star team, mainly because of games missed. I mean, it doesn't hurt that Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, Anthony Davis, and Devin Booker are all missing games. So it would really take the Grizzlies probably having the top record in the Western Conference at the time where the coaches are choosing for one of them, and for them to obviously have a run through that time. I think the team is chosen at the end of this month. So it's going to take that kind of time. So Jaren and or Desmond Bane are going to have to really, really have a great rest of this month. And the Grizzlies are going to have to win a lot of games and squeak ahead of Denver for them to get a second All-Star. Because unfortunately, the Lakers are going to get an All-Star and they're a losing team, but they got 2 superstars on their team and a bunch of trash. And finally, the 5th and last question for the halfway point of the season. Do I still think the Grizzlies will win the 2023 NBA title? Yes, I do. Of course, I am your resident Grizzly homer, but everything that I've seen on the court this year has validated what I thought this offseason. Ja Morant has established himself as a better player than last year. Jaren Jackson has established himself as one of, if not the best defensive player in the NBA this year. And Desmond Bane has blossomed into a very, very good on and off ball offensive threat, not just scoring threat, but also passing and moving the ball. So that's a crazy big three that I don't think any other team except maybe the Pelicans, when totally healthy, can match as far as a three goes. So, Denver, I don't really think they're quite there, even though they have the best top player in Jokic. But I don't think Jamal Murray and, Michael Porter Jr. or Aaron Gordon fit the bill. But, they're going to be a top team also. So, I don't think it's going to be any stretch of the imagination that they might be the team that the Grizzlies have to go through. And that leads me to my final thought of who is the top opponents in the Western Conference. And I still say the number one is the Golden State Warriors. They are the number one obstacle for the Grizzlies in the Western Conference. and then the Denver Nuggets. Obviously, the rest of the teams I haven't been really impressed with. Probably the team that I was most concerned with coming into the season, as far as a dark horse competition, was the New Orleans Pelicans. But they have some matchup issues with the Grizzlies, and I don't know if they're going to be able to solve them without making a major trade, and I don't think they would do that until the offseason. So those are the 5 burning questions I have at the halfway point of this season. Let me know what you think about those answers that I gave, and what is your number 1 burning question for the Grizzlies at the halfway point of this season. Peace.